I want to talk to you about a very, very powerful concept. A very powerful concept. And I'm going to speak up on this one. It has to do with prayer. You know, I was sitting down over the years and just contemplating on certain things and how it's coming about and how my mind got clear. And it always came through slowing myself down, um, hearing messages like you can't hear God in the noise. There has to be a silence for you to hear Him. And I grew up in a very noisy place, New York, and there's always some kind of assault on my senses, for lack of better words. And I found that when I came up here, Massachusetts, I went for a jog. I just always running anyway, so I went for a jog, and there's all these trees, and then I found this mill, and they still use stones to crush and make flour, and the waterfalls were going, and it was quiet. I mean, it's just the rush of water, and I stood there for a while, and then I just took a walk away, and the waterfalls came down, and I found my mind just took off. It just took off, and I had gone to Radio Shack, and I had this little cheap microphone, and I learned to record things. I think I was listening to some inventors, and they said that's what you always keep some kind of pen, pencil, or something to record with, because ideas will just come flying, and then they'll get lost. So I started talking, and all this stuff started coming out, and all this wisdom started coming out from somewhere. And it made sense to me that, Jesus Christ dropped his body so the comforter could come to you. Now, a lot of people that they might get thrown off with religion, and that might have been hurt by it. So I put it this way. It's like a concert. It's like I used to love James Brown, and I loved the Jackson 5 and the Brothers Johnson, and it was funny because we would get tickets months in advance and would be excited and hyped and pumped, and then we go to the show, and I'll never forget seeing Patti LaBelle for the first time, and she was hollering from backstage, and we were just hyped and pumped out. And then, it hit me that he said, I got to drop this body because what it is that Jesus is coming, or this one is coming, or this one's coming to give a show, and we get excited, and then they leave and have to go to take that body to another city, and then we come back down again. And so it was about, one gentleman named Ram Dass says, I take this acid to clear my head out and go to India and sit with these gurus. And the guru said, what's that funny medicine you take? I see you take it every now and then. He said, it's LSD. And he says, well, what does that do? He says, well, it clears my head out once a month and I can get closer with you. And he said, we used to do those things years ago. And he said, but you can visit God for a couple of hours. And then you come back down again. He said, better to learn to pray and meditate so you can be with God as long as you want to be. You can sit with Christ as long as you want to sit with him. And it doesn't have to be all tuned up. And so I thought about it. And I was watching, I had this VHS years ago about Mother Teresa's life. And one of the points that really fascinated me was I sat there. She was in Beirut, and there was a big battle, and the cannons are going and all this stuff, same stuff we see now. And she's sitting there having a conversation with these religious men, and the shells are dropping, and she's trying to convince them to look, tomorrow I want to go in, there's a hospital between all this conflict, and I want to get these children, I'm going to help these children. And they said, well, Mother, can't you hear the shells? Don't you think the time limit is a little short? And she says, oh no, I have prayed to Our Lady, and I have asked her for a ceasefire. Now, I didn't know what Our Lady was. I grew up Baptist and stuff. But I'm watching this, and it took me years to figure this out. But she's arguing with them, and they says, if there's a ceasefire tomorrow, we'll give you what you need. The next day, y'all, and this is live footage. You can go to YouTube and see it. Nothing. Now, how could, what people are going to say? What a coincidence and this and that. But that's not what she said. And I'm sitting there and the bombs is dropping. And she said, I pray to Our Lady and I've asked for a ceasefire. And I know there'll be one tomorrow. I didn't believe there'll be one. I know. And so how could this woman do all these things? She said, greater than these things you shall do. And then towards the end, she lost her faith. Not her faith, but the belief in the, I believe the sensations that she got from what she was doing. But while she was here, she just took it to another level. And then they had speeches in there that I needed to see about saying there's a terrible hunger for love. She gave a talk at Harvard University. So I still feel as though these people are not going to listen to people unless there's a peace about them. And so I'm watching this, and so I got to put out there that I can bring all the noise and all the drama that I want. But Wayne Dyer said it best. He said, it's the stripes between the tiger that makes the tiger. It is the empty space that makes the cup. You can't fill it up unless there's empty space. And it's the silence between the notes that makes the music. You know, and it's like I got my crystal ball here in this. There's an empty space in that. There has to be. That bowl, that crystal bowl there has to have an empty space for that to be. And I can carry that sound, I can catch it right now with this stick. All I gotta do is just gently catch it. Bring me to a place where I can let him have his way. So sought through prayer and meditation to do what? To improve my conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of his will or her will and the power to carry that out. To carry what out? Their will. Think about it. Actually pray about it because we need it.